This is the world we live in where crafting the narrative, and I made this joke before, they have put more care in scientific rigor and sticking to the manual of how to manipulate opinion on this show than they did in writing the actual show. What you're about to see, no one has been covering. We covered it on Sunday, I believe, was it? We got together, or Saturday, and we presented. If you look on my channel, we talked about the global backlash, looking at the live view counts for the Rings of Power. And what we wanted to do was let a few days go by to compare those numbers to what we have now. And Nathan, Amanda Manethrin, has blown my mind. You're going to want to pay attention to this one. So let's talk about this a little bit. Nathan, you're a data guy. Tell people what we're looking at here. I'm going to try and give everybody the vet. That looks like the best view that we can do, and bounce it out. Explain what we're looking at.
All right. You are looking at the global thumbs up, thumbs down by region, at least all the regions that I had time to pull. But these are many of the major regions across the world that are specific Amazon Prime accounts on YouTube.
So what's important to note from this, there are 5 or 6 distinct columns within this. We're looking at the upvote to downvote ratio, the total channel subscribers. We're looking at total views. So we're actually looking at the live data as we're being reported by YouTube itself. There is a country in particular that has been, their data's been scrambled. There's really no other way to put it. And Nathan, go ahead and share that out again. Give me a test. All right, Nathan. All right. So the first column we have is thumbs up, going left to right. The second column is thumbs down. Then there's the ratio overall. Then we right next to that is total views. Next one is sub count. And then what that means from a subscriber to video interaction percentage. And then looking at the subscriber to video interaction. So Nathan, go ahead and take it. Right. Let's take a look at New Zealand, and then let's go ahead and run with the breaking news that we're gonna, I think we are the only ones breaking it. We're breaking it right here. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what's interesting about Australia, New Zealand is when we did our initial video late last week, my initial screen capture of the video was restricted, which was different from a few days prior to that when the trailer got dropped. So then all of a sudden, I'm going to switch over to the New Zealand page that I've got here. So this is what the page looked like last Friday or whenever that was.
Yeah. So this is, okay. So the total count that we had last Friday was what? What was the, last time you checked it on Friday?
So the total number of views was almost 200,000. So
199, and then 95. And then with a ratio of 52 to 1. So explain what happened.
All of a sudden, it got restricted, and the count dropped to 122,000.
It dropped by 70,000 views. 2.5 hours later, it dropped by 70,000 views. 2.5 hours later.
And so since then it's picked back up, but and as of yesterday on the 29th, I was able to view the trailer again on their site, and lo and behold, 60,000. It had increased by 60,000, and then today it's increased by another almost 20,000. And notice the ratio has gone through the roof. Yeah, and so they've monkeyed with the New Zealand numbers. And which is not surprising because New Zealand is, if you'll recall, where they were doing the filming and where they invested a whole bunch of money and a whole lot of jobs were created there. And then Amazon decided to pull up shop and move the whole operation to England and leave a crap load of people in New Zealand unemployed. And so this reaction does not surprise me in the slightest bit. I think that the nation is probably pissed off at Amazon for what they did
Yeah.
to them. Either way, whether or not this is reactionary or not, according to how Amazon does business, it still is, if we look back at these total numbers, still indicative when we've got a whole worldwide ratio of almost 10 to 1
Yeah.
where you're getting a thumbs down. The
So
only
the ver-
country...
Go ahead.
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
Yeah, the only country that's positive is the Philippines, who has 1 thumb up and 0 thumbs down,
Yeah.
with only 25 views somehow.
Wow.
So these numbers here, I don't believe for a minute.
No.
So, like, if we look at
No.
Finland, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, regions where there was a lot of inspiration for Tolkien to write what he wrote,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and we're seeing very little interaction to these views.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about here. As far as, like, first from when it comes to the lesson, or like the subtraction of views from the Australia and New Zealand video. I wonder if they, like, kind of took it down for a moment in order to take some of the views away and then bring it back up. I'm not sure how they were able to do that, or what they had to do that, or if they were able to find, like, bots that were viewing it for some reason. I don't know how that works, but definitely a really interesting anecdote to find that. And then the numbers here, I mean, it just speaks for itself. I think the really interesting thing is that across the board, from what it looks like, is that the ratios have continually been downvoted. Like, they heavily ratio negatively, even in lower interaction channels. It's still a negative ratio, and I think that's really, I think it says a lot about. We've never seen a mass of people speak out this way, because this is their way of, because since they took the dislikes away, they're trying to, most people won't even see the dislikes, so this is their way of trying to tell YouTube, trying to tell Amazon, we're not liking what we're seeing. So it's very telling of what the fans are trying to tell these corporations.
Purple Valkyrie, you were live with Nathan and I last Friday when we went over the raw data before we included Sweden, Finland, and Norway discreetly. What is your reaction to this, and what have you been seeing? I know we saw people were redirecting. I think the Thad that shouldn't be, who's in chat, was looking on the back end, and they were actually trying to get people to stop downvoting in New Zealand because the ratio was so bad, and to go to the American or the UK trailer. What's your read on this? What's your sense on this? As someone who lives in Birmingham, where Tolkien is from.
Yes, that's what we were seeing. When we were talking about it, and we were seeing the numbers getting redirected, and we actually did a test, and we did a quick check, and the first one that popped up for me obviously was the UK one. I had to actually go actively searching for a lot of these, and a lot of them seem to have been shadowed. We couldn't find India, for example. That was a very difficult one to find, and that has a massive audience. I think it's got over 8 million people subscribed to it, but the numbers were incredibly low, and we couldn't figure out why. But to see this, and to see 70,000 taken off the New Zealand one, is anybody surprised? Is anybody thinking that this isn't them moving the numbers? And the other thing that is very interesting to note is the comment sections. Everybody is on the same page with the comment sections, whereas before it was the quote, "evil can't create," and people were saying that in their own languages. Now it's people just making fun of Rings of Failure.
And honestly, it's hysterical. Zax, I'm going to go to you, but Mr. Tickle Trunk, channel member of mine, hail to you, has been waiting patiently for 5 Canadian. Thank you very much. Much in the same way you see the shenanigans here with view counts. That's happening to regular YouTubers like me. Sporking News podcast that Zax was on last night put out a tweet today saying, where did all my views go? Yeah, I have a video. I did a live reaction to the the House of Dragons on Sunday, and one page will tell me I have over 350 views, and then I go to my monetization page, and guess how many it says I have? 30. I'm not the only one this is affecting. I'm pretty sure this is affecting much larger channels than my 2,600 almost subscribers that I have now. But whatever is going on, this has been going on for months. And I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. It's just odd that this stuff is happening about the time that $1 billion thing is happening. But I don't know. Maybe it just has to do with forcing us to eat bugs and not have electricity.
The Canadian numbers are to me extra suspect, with almost 400,000 views and only 6 thumbs up and 24 thumbs down. How is that possible?
That's wild.
Which one of those is yours, X?
Those are all mine, mostly. But
All
there's
your
other
different
people that
profiles. Yeah.
Read those numbers again for people watching on
Okay.
mobile. Read the numbers. How many thumbs up and thumbs down? Okay, how many views
Well,
versus thumbs? You guys are going to
so-
believe this.
views, 385,000 views. So getting close to 400,000 views. And of that, there's six thumbs up, 24 thumbs down for an interaction rate of 0.01%.
Good lord.
That is not possible. There's no way that.
Now, in Canada, don't they call the thumbs down button sorry?
Yeah.
Well, I have a custom thumbs down button for Amazon, and so at least
Oh.
10 of those are my thumbs down. So I don't know what's going on, but that's super suspicious to me.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond suspicious, that's evidence.
I hear the more that you click the dislike button, it adds more dislikes onto the video.
It's like the elevator. The more you press,
Yeah.
the more you press the down button, the faster it goes. It's pneumatically driven. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, that's really Nathan, great work on this, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So almost 400,000 views and a total of 30 thumbs in either direction. Explain that.
Yeah. I can't.
They can't.
Must just be normal. Nothing to see here, you bigots, you istinphobes. You're just afraid of strong women. It wasn't made for you. If you don't like it, don't watch it.
May I also maybe kind of add some context to this real quick
Yes.
as well? So, for a lot of detractors, they'll probably see these numbers and they'll go like, "Wow, you guys really care about this? Like, does this really matter?" Like Zax was saying and Salty was saying today in the videos, they'll say, if you don't like it, don't watch it, or why does it matter so much to you? I was on Matt Foulball Productions stream. Shout out to him. We did a podcast today. It'll come out tomorrow. But one of the things that we talked about was how important media and entertainment is for a culture, because you learn lessons, you learn morality, you learn ethics. Sometimes your first introduction to those things is through media. Media changes culture, and sometimes, if it is put into the wrong hands, it can influence culture into a negative way, a society into a negative way. So what we're seeing here is basically corporations fudging the numbers, or fans speaking out and then still fudging the numbers. And what this does is it creates a disingenuous argument, so that when people like us actually say, listen, this isn't what we wanted. No one asked for this. We're worried that it's going to ruin the themes and legendarian of Tolkien. The big corporations are going to come out and they're going to go, it doesn't matter. And they're going to make this disingenuous argument because they're fudging the numbers and everything. So in the grand scheme of things, yes, this is an Excel sheet and these are a bunch of numbers and people might not understand it. But in the grand scheme of things and in this context of what these numbers mean, I think what it means in the bigger picture is the fact that the fans are speaking out and have spoken, and we're getting ready for a battle here, essentially.
Yeah.
Whether people like it or not. And it is a battle for our culture. It's a battle for our society. So I think it's bigger than just, it's just a show. If you don't like it, don't watch it. It means much more to people than that.
Yes, indeed, and Max is absolutely right. We've talked about this multiple times on various shows. What we see with our entertainment is the stories that we've been passed down, and I think that's why stories like Tolkien resonate so much with us. We've talked about the hero's journey. We've talked about having strong characters that we can look up to, and I think that's what we want with entertainment, but we're also finding this is not what the companies want to give us. They don't want us to strive for anything. And I think, Max, you've talked about heroes and having people to look up to, and heroes throughout history. It's incredibly bizarre, and now to see this with the numbers that they are moving the algorithm, I guess, would be the best way. Right before this show drops, and I know a lot of people are going to see the premiere, which is going to be interesting, and obviously we're going to be talking about it as well very, very soon. But right on the cusp of this, it is incredibly strange that they are so intent on trying to prove that this is a worldwide success, that this is a phenomenon, when the numbers don't lie.
All of these Amazon Primes, this is the only metric we can use, but I think we can extrapolate this fairly well. How many total thumbs up on the entire planet are there for people who care about this show? Only 66,000 and change people on the entire planet that watch YouTube, that are subscribed to Amazon Prime or care about this at all. Only 66,000 people on the entire planet, including in the United States.
So over half of them are from the States. But this is that's a button they still have, that they still track.
Think about that.
And those numbers could be fudged either way. They could have taken thumbs down, or thumbs downs away, or inflated their thumbs up numbers. Because the thumbs up you can still see without the Chrome edition or whatever.
And that's been proven on other trailers.
Yeah.
So it's not without any merit to the argument there. And if they're going to sit there and complain about, well, what does it matter to us? It's like, well, tell me why it matters to Amazon to sit there and manipulate the numbers the way that they do. It doesn't make your argument is completely disingenuous if you're not going to sit there and account it in both directions.
I think we can be less suspicious about positive interaction. You know what I mean? But this is related to the second trailer that they put out, 4 or 5 days ago. It has gotten viewed nearly 28 million times. 28 million times globally on all of these different Amazon platforms in multiple different languages all around the globe. But out of that, only 66,000 people liked it enough to hit the thumbs up button?
I don't get how people can say or ask, why do you guys care so much about these numbers, when obviously they care more about these numbers than we do.
It's almost, it speaks even more powerfully in the fact that these are numbers of people who have interacted with it. We don't even know, like the people who watched it and yet didn't interact with it, they may have even had such a negative reaction that they were like, I'm turning it off. Or they watched it and they said, yeah, it was great, but didn't hit thumbs up or whatever. I don't know what the ratio is for normal channels and subscribers as far as like interaction with the like-dislike feature. But I will say that there is something to be said, the fact that, like you said, Salty, there's almost 24 million people who've watched all this.
28. 28 million.
Yeah, sorry, 28 million. No, you're right, because I was looking at the sub count. You're right. So it's 28 million, and yet the interaction, whether it's thumbs down or thumbs up, is still fairly low in what I would imagine. So there are still people who didn't even interact with the video in that like or dislike function. So who knows what the real count would be? But this is a very, very good indication. And like I said, Nathan, great job for, this looks like a whole lot of work, man. So good work.
Yeah.